Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the likety like button on the way in. Hit the like, but also hit the hype. And this is my review on Belle Collective, Season 6, Episode 5, Biloxi Blues. Hey, Vanessa, hope all is well. You know, I miss the days in reality TV when people actually were honest about them being the villain. I miss those days. Those days were great. Like Miss, New York on Flavor of Love, people like that who say, yeah, I'm the villain. I'm going to antagonize you. I'm going to sit up there and get you off your A game. I love people like that. What I don't like now is the passive aggressive. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm innocent. I really would never do this. I wouldn't do that to you. You're full of it, okay? So let's get into this episode so we can talk about lion, snake, trees. But we start off with, baby, let me tell you something. Carrie, I may need her to be my best friend. One thing about me, I love me some crawfish. Do you understand me? I love crawfish. Baby, when Carrie came out with the crawfish boil and was about to have an eating feast, I said, baby, I wish I was there for it because I love crawfish. I can literally take a pound or more crawfish and eat it all day and will not have any issues with it. Do you understand me? Will not have any issues with it. So at this point, I don't understand what's going on in Jackson. But what I do know is that these girls are trying to act like they super bougie. Not Latrice, Letitia and Marie and Selena come to the crawfish boil, and literally they are sitting up there trying to figure out how to eat crawfish. And I'm like, y'all don't know how to eat crawfish? Like, I mean, what is going on here? And then at that point, Carrie, which I love the crawfish, she kind of threw me off with the mayonnaise on the bread. I was like, I don't know what the heck you doing. And the fact that she used gloves to put her mayonnaise on the bread, I said, girl, what are you doing? But I felt Marie on that when she was like, I'm not about to eat this bread. But she was like, you trying to act like we country. We from the country, but we ain't that country. And I'm like, what part of country are you referring to? The crawfish or the mayo on the bread? I can understand the mayo on the bread, but the crawfish, honey, crawfish, I don't know. Marie and Letitia was giving like they are super bougie, but they giving bougetto. Like, you're not gonna be able to convince me like you will eat a pork chop, but you won't eat no crawfish. I don't know. I don't know. But with that being said, she invites them to the Gulf. Okay, they're gonna go to Biloxi. All right. And so at that point, Marie asks Letitia, is she ready for the trip? Because this is a girl's trip. So that means that it's going to be Latrice, Tambra, they're all going to be there. And Letitia's like, oh, yeah, thank you for asking me. But you know what? If Carrie has something, I'm coming. So I'm definitely, going to stay positive, her little fake positivity, and I'm definitely going to go. So at that point, Selena even says during their sit down that she hates that happened between Letitia and Latrice because they was already trying to get back on good terms. They had, their fallout, but they were getting back on the right track. And then this happened. Child, Selena, I'm gonna have something to say about you later on. But anyways, moving on. Then we have Tambra and her baby daddy. Oh my gosh, that little baby is so adorable. She is so cute. Hence the pink and green bows. We see you, Tambra. We see you. Yes, she is so adorable. Look just like a daddy, just like her daddy. Tambra, however, looks really, really good without all of that makeup and all of that hair. Like when she just looks like natural, she's really pretty. Her and Marie, like they to me look better without all the makeup on. But he's working like crazy. He's working like a madman, like most men do, especially when now they have kids to take care of. And I guess her issue is that he doesn't like to talk about finances. And he's kind of hush hush about it. Meanwhile, she's very open about finances, talk about things that she's invested in, things that she's done for the child. And her main thing is she wants to know what he's doing as far as his finances when it comes to the baby. And I'm like, I don't think they're together. I truly think they're not together. I think they just do this for the cameras. I think they made an arrangement to have that baby because they both wanted a baby, but I don't think they're together. And to me, if they're not together, I don't necessarily know if he needs to tell you about his finances. I understand you saying it's for the baby, but I mean, at the end of the day, just make sure your stuff is on lock because again, he's really not obligated to tell you anything if y'all not together. I'm just saying. So that was a cute little scene, but of course, Tambra doesn't bring a dang on thing. Nothing to this show. Okay. It's at this point, I'm like, maybe because they just don't have enough girls in Jackson who will want to do this show. I don't see the point of her being on the show anymore. She serves nothing. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Vanessa. Oh, Vanessa, I appreciate that. I'm sorry to hear that. Prayers to you and your family. So, yeah, she brings nothing, absolutely nothing to the table. Meanwhile, child, Latrice, continue to show us how you feel about your relationship. Continue to show us how you feel about your relationship. She is getting ready for the Biloxi trip. And Green Eye Bandit Cliff comes in saying, I got a little surprise for you in the kitchen. And she's like, oh, what you got surprise for me? And she see that he has this whole little feast laid out that he got from takeout or whatever. And she's like, oh, she was like, well, this is a surprise. She's like, is someone pregnant? And I was like, pregnant? That's a random thing to say. And he was like, who? What you talking about pregnant? And then she was like, oh, well, if you got something to tell me, you better tell me now. And I said, you know what, Latrice? And see, this is exactly your problem. You so busy trying to call out other people and try to get your get back with Letitia. Trust me, you're going to be on the chopping block. You are going to be the next one laid out on a platter when it comes to your own relationship. Just watch, just watch. So at that point, she's sitting up there saying that she feels really awkward or whatever the case may be about going on this trip or whatever with Letitia and how it's just weird. And she asked Cliff, like, have you spoke to Glenn? And he's like, nah, I ain't actually spoke to him or whatever. And so at that point, you know, she was just like, yeah, I just feel like I don't know kind of what I'm going to walk into. And I'm like, you're going to walk into the own fire that you created. That's what you're going to walk into. You're going to walk into the own fire that you created, that you consistently create at your events. Now, this time it's at your home. So at the end of the day, he's sitting up there talking about why she got a ball gown, why she got a gown on in the house. And she was like, this is your everyday wear that you wear around the house. No, it's not. No, it's not. And you ain't going to be able to tell me and convince me that you actually wear something like that on a consistent basis in your house. You don't even wear makeup like that around your house because we've seen you in your house literally when you had an interview with barely no makeup on. We didn't even recognize who you were. So you're not going to be able to convince me that's how you walk around in the house. That's why Cliff called you out saying why you got a ball gown on. So with that being said, she also said that Amanda was sincere with her apology. And I call BS. I call BS. Amanda was not sincere with her apology. She wasn't. She was like, I know Amanda. She was very sincere. And I'm like, no, she was maybe sincere to you for how that put you on the spot. But something tells me this was all rehearsed. You knew dang on well what the question was. You knew Amanda was going to do it. You just wanted that moment in that scene for her to apologize as if you weren't aware that that was about to go down. We see you for your works. We see you for your works. Then she wants to sit up there and show her insecurities yet again and says, where are you going to stay while I'm going in Biloxi? And he said, well, I'm going to stay in the condos. He said, instead of me going back and forth from the restaurant to the house, I'm going to just stay in the condos. And she's like, you're going to be staying in the condo. She was like, what if I sat up there and, you know, was shaking my butt all up in a guy's face or whatever the case may be? Like, well, how would you feel about that? He was like, well, I feel like that would be cheating. He was like, what you think I'm about to sit up there and do that up in the condos? And she was like, I don't know. Latrice, it's getting old at this point. It's getting old at this point. It is getting old about all of your insecurities when it comes to this relationship and how you feel about him being in the condos and how you feel about him in general. How about you? Is there anything else you can focus? Maybe focus on having a baby. No, hell no. She don't need no baby. I don't know, but I'm tired of this conversation when it comes to you and Cliff and you concerned about what he doing in them condos, because it definitely don't have nothing to do with your brothers. It was very touching about how you felt, of course, when your brothers passed and how you are nervous about Cliff and him not coming home because you worried about what happened to your brothers. It's not giving that, ma'am. It's giving that you're insecure. It's giving that you're insecure and you worried about your man cheating on you. That's what it's given. But the reality is Cliff need to look out for her. Because I don't put it past Latrice to cheat on him. I'm just saying, we know that Latrice only look at people as an asset or a liability. And as far as I see it, Cliff is the reason why she is able to have the lifestyle that she has. Cliff is the reason why she has been able to build the business empire that she has. If it wasn't it, Cliff is the reason, point blank, period. So at the end of the day, as far as I see it, like I said before, if she find another man that is finer than him, more paid than him, younger than him, you think she won't leave Cliff? I say she will. I say she will. But moving on, baby. Carrie makes me want to visit Biloxi. Let me know in the chat, in the comment section, if you guys are from Biloxi or if you've ever been, but it looks so beautiful and peaceful. Like it looks really, really nice. But with that being said, the girls end up meeting up. Carrie is already in Biloxi, her and her man. And of course, they are already plotting with production on how to be messy when it comes to the room situation. But with the girls, they're literally in Jackson getting ready to get in the van to go to Biloxi. And of course, Letitia get there and she hugging, doing the fake little patter hug with Latrice. So my question to y'all is, do you think she was being fake or she was just being mature because she knows at the end of the day, they got to be on this trip together? You decide. But let me explain something to you, Latrice. Your little jean tube top, if you have to keep pulling on it, then baby, don't wear it. I was getting so annoyed every single time, every second she was pulling up on that tube top. And I was like, girl, if it's really that insecure, like if it feels that loose, why would you even wear it? She was pulling it in the van, she was pulling it when she was standing there. It was just giving a little bit too much. All right. So meanwhile, we actually see a clip, a flashback of Latrice talking to Selena and Tambra about the situation with the pool party. And at that point, Tambra, of course, also knew about the situation with Glenn, but Tambra said it wasn't her place to tell Letitia about her husband. Now, here's the thing in that situation. We all know that sometimes, a lot of the times, people shoot the messenger, not the person that they really need to get at. They shoot the messenger, right? But at the same time, you already decided to have this conversation in front of the cameras on national television. So at that point, if it was already out there and you already filmed something like that, would you warn Letitia or would you not warn Letitia? I feel like Tambra wasn't going to tell Letitia because she owes no loyalty to Letitia. She literally looks at Letitia as just an asset for her to be on the show. She's not friends with Letitia, so that's why she didn't tell her. That's just what it was. But with that, when they're in the van, they're talking, and of course, passive aggressively, Letitia actually sits up there and says she tired of people playing in her face because they was asking her how her and Glenn are doing. She was like, well, right now, it's all whatever. I'm sleeping in the room with Josh. I hope Josh got 2 beds in there. I'm sorry, Josh, I feel like is easily at this point, maybe in middle school or at least 5th grade at least. I hope you ain't sleeping in the same bed with your son. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if parents do have like only one bed to share for, them and their kids, fine. But I just find that a little awkward. Like, girl, Tell Glenn to sleep his behind on the couch and you sleep in the bed. How does that even make sense that you are willing to go into the room with your son and let Glenn sleep in the bed by himself? He's the one in the doghouse. You tell him to sleep on the couch, or he's sleeping there with Josh, or he can get a freaking hotel room until further notice. It just don't even make any sense to me. But this is what I'm talking about. So while she talking all of this crap, is she gonna leave Glenn? No. So with that, they end up getting to the house. The house is absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous. I really liked it. I was like, okay, I'm right. I see y'all, Biloxi. I see y'all. I may have to take a visit to Biloxi. I heard they got the casinos out there too. So apparently Biloxi is the place to be. But with that being said, they get to the house. It's nice, but they have to pick rooms. And Carrie's husband had already said, you need to put Letitia and Latrice in the same room. We all know production is behind this. So what they claim is, look, there's only 4 rooms upstairs and the one downstairs is for me. And y'all gonna have to sit up there and pick rooms, or we gonna do it based on age. So oldest to youngest. So Selena is the oldest. Child, I didn't know Selena was 49 years old, okay? Now, I don't know much about Selena, and I know Selena got some psycho bot fans out there, but one thing I will say is Selena does look good for her age. My question is, though, how tall is Selena? She looked like an Amazon. She seemed like she tall, like she could easily be 6 feet tall. How tall is she? Because she seemed like she towered over everyone, especially JJ, and she looked like she even taller than her fiance now. But she ends up getting her room first. Then it's Marie. Marie is 45. She gets her room. I didn't know Tambra was 45 either. And I said, you better go ahead, girl. You give 40 plus hope, because one, you just had a baby. I don't even know if her child is even 1 year old yet, but she had her child. But I was like 45. I said, you better go ahead, Tambra. Would have never known she was 45. So she ends up getting her room, and then Letitia and Latrice, they have to be in bunk beds. My question is, let me shut up. No, I ain't shutting up. How old is Letitia? Because if you ask me, I thought she was going to get the first room. She looked older than all of them. No shade, but she do. I'm just saying. So the fact that she is literally, and maybe she's in her 40s, but she's just a little younger than Tambra. But I was like, well, how old is she? How old is she? So at that point, she's like, I am not sleeping in the same room with no Latrice. She said, I will sleep in the room with Marie. She said, I don't care if she snore. I don't care if she having freaky tales on the phone with a man. I don't care. I'm not sleeping in that room with Latrice. So at that point, Carrie sits up there and makes an announcement that they're going to the gator farm. And I was like, what is so excited about going to the gator farm? Now, I eat alligator, honey. I'll eat it. I'll eat it fried, but I don't need to see them alive close to me. Like, what was the point? But she was like, welcome to the bayou, baby. And I'm like, nah, that ain't the bayou that I want to see. So at that point, they end up going to the gator farm, and they sit up there and go through the swamp. Now, one thing that I thought was hilarious that Latrice said, she starts spraying herself and she's like, no bugs formed against us shall prosper. I got us, honey. And I started laughing. But the funny thing about it is she's saying no bugs formed against us shall prosper. Meanwhile, she only spraying herself. Such a typical Latrice situation, child. She only cared about herself. She didn't spray nobody else, honey. So at that point, they end up seeing some alligators. They play with a little baby alligator or whatever. And I was like, okay, yeah. This is definitely a filler episode. So next, they end up going to the restaurant. And at that point, Carrie ends up introducing them to the restaurant owner, because she's also a restaurant owner. And for whatever reason, child, Letitia had to make it be known, Carrie, you that girl down here in Biloxi, honey, you that girl. And I'm like, why is she that girl? Because she's a restaurant owner who knows another restaurant owner. That's called networking and connections. And it's also called a national television show where he can actually promote his restaurant. But okay, I don't know what Letitia's version of that girl is, but considering the fact that Biloxi and Jackson are very small places to live, I'm going to guess that anybody could be that girl, but that's just my opinion on the situation. Now, Another thing that annoyed the heck out of me, they end up getting raw oysters. None of these heifers have tried raw oysters except Carrie. Letitia, like, I'll try anything once. Marie act like she about to throw up. I'm gonna need for y'all to broaden y'all palate. Like, seriously, broaden your palate. Like, you don't like the crawfish. You never sat up there and had a raw oyster before, baby. That's why I said Carrie would be my best friend. You gonna give me some crawfish? You gonna give me some raw oysters, baby? We can hang. We can hang. Ain't nothing like crawfish, raw oysters. You know, a little shot of tequila. I'm all in. I'm all in. So I just don't understand. Like, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I like fried oysters too. But Marie she had her nose up in every situation. I was like, I don't know if this is really giving bougie or this is just giving, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you don't know how to broaden your horizons with different types of food. You just stick your nose up to it. I don't know if Maria's never had them before, but it seems to me she's never had them before. She just didn't want them because they was raw. Girl, absolutely amazing. I love me some oysters. But anywho, with that being said, of course, they randomly want to talk about, well, Letitia, you has a lot of stuff going on. And Letitia was like, I appreciate you, Carrie. I appreciate you for looking out for me and just stepping in without me having to ask you. And she was like, yeah, well, you had a lot going on. And she was like, well, yeah, so since we on the topic, let's talk about this pool party. Child, y'all can't even just gradually go into stuff. Like, it's so low budget in Carlos King world that y'all can't even let stuff gradually come in. It's so obvious that y'all are forced here to have this conversation. So at that point, Letitia's like, you set me up, pretty much. You set me up. And Latrice is like, what reason would I have to do that to you? Oh, I can think of a lot of reasons, especially with how petty you are when you don't want to let go of stuff that happened in the past. So we could think of a lot of reasons, a lot of reasons. So then at that point, she's sitting up there and saying, why am I getting all the heat? Why am I getting all the heat when Tambra also knew this information too? Because Tambra is not friends with Amanda. Amanda is your friend. In fact, you said Amanda is your best friend. So naturally, you would get the heat when that's your BFF allegedly, and it's in your own house. And Tambra wasn't even there. So yeah. And she like, throw me some water, put some water on me or something, Tambra, like save me. And I'm like, no, you need to save yourself because at the end of the day, you brought this on yourself. So then Latrice says, well, look, how many times have you crossed me? How many times? I can think of so many things that you've done to cross me. Can you mention one time where I've actually crossed you? And Letitia was like, well, actually, I can. I'm thinking about the time when Antoinette came to that event and you brought her there and was laughing and joking, and they did a flashback on that. And she was like, and then your hairdresser comes in there. She didn't mention the baby portion of it, but she mentioned the hairdresser. So it was like, at the end of the day, yeah, I can think of a couple times where you low-key crossed me in a passive aggressive way, but you low-key crossed me. Now Tambra is sitting up there, is like, I don't think Latrice knew she was going to ask that question. Tambra, shut up. You weren't even there. Shut up. Okay. But of course, she gonna come in and defend Latrice because that's the girl that she has her allegiance with. She feels like Latrice is her friend. Child, she ain't no friend to you. We clearly knew that a couple of seasons ago when y'all sat up there and met up with each other. She said something slick about how she ain't a friend to no one. So anywho, with that being said, Latrice sits up there and says, well, Letitia says, I felt like y'all was playing in my face, and I can't stand that. She sit up there and hit her hand on the table. She was like, y'all was playing in my face. And Latrice says, I don't know why you saying I was playing in your face, because if I was playing in your face, your husband was also playing in your face. And Letitia said, shockingly, y'all were all playing in my face. You all were playing in my face. Make sure y'all hit the likety like button on the way in. Hit the like, hit the hype. She was like, yeah, y'all was all playing in my face. And I said, well, okay, Letitia, You finally putting it out there that Glenn is just as guilty as the rest of them. But again, will she leave? No. Now, interesting enough, now I'm gonna have to get on you. Miss Selena, because Miss Selena was in the confessional saying there is girl code. And she was like, and girl code is about loyalty. So that's what she says, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you when you said that. She said it's about loyalty. And she said, but as far as what side do I pick in the situation, she says, I understand them both while looking down, not looking into the camera. Selena, you lying, and you sitting up there saying that because you don't want to take either side, because you don't want to piss either one of them off. Girl, stop. Right is right, wrong is wrong. The fact that you start off saying there is girl code and girl code, there's loyalty in it, and then try to say, I understand both sides. No, you don't. No, you don't. You understand that Latrice was dirty in that situation. You just don't want to say that because you don't want to piss either one of them off, because both of them clearly have access to usually who gets on the show and who doesn't get on the show. So yeah, miss me with that nonsense. So I looked at Selena like, okay, Selena, I see where you are here. You just trying to make sure you keep your checks secure versus being honest. And then of course Tambra makes her comment, and we don't care what she think, because barely half the time I'm still trying to figure out why she on the show. Marie said, heck yeah, she sat up there and violated girl code. Latrice definitely violated girl code. So at that point, Marie said, I literally was sitting up there like Latrice knew that question had to come out. She knew that question was coming out. And Latrice like, no, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that was coming out. And Marie's like, yeah, okay. Marie's like, yeah, sure. You didn't know that question was going to come out? She was like, no. She was like, what would be the point of me doing that? Why would I want to bring the mess to my house? Just like you brought the mess to your events. You're just a messy person. And you like to throw a rock and hide your hands. And that's just what it is. So to say, why would you want to bring the drama to your house? Because you know that's what you do. And I just wish you would be honest about it and say, yeah, I'm still on my get back. Or yeah, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I still didn't get my get back from you and how you did X, Y, and Z. So yeah, at the end of the day, Amanda, she sat up there and talked to Glenn. Glenn was talking to her. I wish she would. New York from Flavor of Love would do something like that. That's why we love New York, because New York had no problem being the villain. I can't stand these new generational villains that sit up there and make it seem like, oh, I'm not really doing what I'm actually doing. You're interpreting it wrong. No, we are interpreting it right. Sorry, y'all. It's been a long day. I'm probably stumbling over my words, but you understand what the hell I'm saying. We see you for your works, boo. It is what it is. Stop lying, okay? Stop lying. You knew what you was doing. You knew that question was coming up, even if production helped you with it, because as soon as that question came up, you side-eyed and looked at Amanda. You looked at Amanda like you knew the question was coming. Who the hell do you think you fooling? So then at that point, Latrice says, I'm friends with both of y'all. So I don't want to get into the middle of this situation because I'm friends with both of y'all. And I said, friends with who? You ain't friends with nobody. So stop the nonsense. And so at that point, Letitia says, well, I want to know if you've seen Glenn do anything inappropriate. Like, have you seen him do anything inappropriate, Latrice? Now, why do you need to continue to seek validation on what you already know? Why? Why do you need more validation to know that your man is trifling? Why? And of course, naturally, Latrice don't say anything. And Marie's like, her silence is her answer pretty much. And of course, she's like, get out of my business. Shut up, Mar. Shut up, Mar. And that's when the episode goes off, because of course it's a cliffhanger, because it's like, what is Latrice going to say? As far as I see it, if you have to keep asking those type of questions, you already know the answer. You know the answer. You know, Glenn has a wandering eye and a wandering peen. What is the point? Like, let them cheat in peace and keep it moving. And that's just what it is. But with that being said, you guys, that was the episode. Wasn't that great of an episode? I would say it was a filler episode. We'll see what the next episode brings. I don't know, y'all. I'm gonna try to thug it out and stick with it, but I have a feeling a lot of this is just they're going through the motions. They really don't have the drama. I know Selena's going to talk about, losing her son again, which I guess that's going to be her storyline, is the journey of trying to heal from that. And sidebar, why the hell do they have on matching pajamas in the next episode, and hideous pajamas at that? Who decided to pick those pajamas? I said, what the heck do they have on? But with that being said, you guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let's continue the conversation below. And I will see you on my next video. Toodles.